Okay. So when we look at these big ideas for adding integers, a number and its opposite have a sum of 0 forming a 0 pair. And so notice that when it says opposite, it also says additive inverse. So those mean the same thing. When adding two integers with same signs, add their absolute values and keep the common sign. So that means you're adding their distance from 0 and keeping the common sign. So for example, -3 plus -4 would equal -7. That is indeed true. When adding two integers with different signs, subtract the absolute values and keep the sign of the number with the lower absolute value. That one is not true. So lower should be changed to greater. And so, for example, -8 plus 5 is going to equal, if we subtract their absolute values, 8 minus 5 is 3. And then because the greater absolute value, the 8, there's more negatives, then this would be -3. So let's look at these examples. There's some errors in these examples, so we're going to fix them. So -22 plus 40 would equal -18. So when we look at these, I'm going to ask myself if I have same signs or different signs. Here I notice that I have different signs. So I have -22 and I have +40. If I'm going to combine those, I'm going to end up subtracting them to get 18. But here, because I have more positives than negatives, I'm going to end up with +18, or just 18. And -12 plus -13, because they have same signs. I'm actually going to add them together to get the 25, but I want to use that common sign. So this ends up being -25. All right, choose an integer to be added with -3. Solve the problem, then write what you did to solve. So this is going to be a little bit open-ended, so -3 plus, let's say, 8. Here I have different signs, and so because they're different signs, I would end up subtracting their absolute values, which is going to leave me with 5. And because I have more positives than negatives, it's going to be +8. So what I did was I identified same signs or different signs. I'm going to subtract absolute values. And answer is positive. Notice I didn't fill in number 4. That is okay. I want these steps to make sense to you, so you fill in what makes the most sense to you. All right, over here we have some mild, medium, and spicy problems. So for mild, -5 plus 8, we're going to ask ourselves, same signs or different signs? They're different. I'm going to get +3 there. -2 plus -4, I have same signs. And so this is going to equal -6. The table shows the results of 3 plays in a football game. What's the total yards gained or lost for the 3 plays? So the first play, they gain 8 yards. Then the second play, they lose 12 yards. And the third play, they're gaining 3 yards. So one way we could write this out is 8 plus -12 plus 3. And from here, there's a variety of ways you could solve this problem. So some of you might add from left to right. Totally fine. 8 plus -12 gives us -4. -4 plus 3 is going to give us -1. Another way we could solve this same problem, I might add my same signs first, so 8 plus 3 I know is going to give me 11, plus the negative 12, 11 plus negative 12. Now I have different signs, so I'm going to subtract them and get 1, and because the 12 has a larger absolute value, and it's negative, my answer is negative. The temperature is 12 degrees at 8 p.m. At midnight, the temperature is negative 3. What integer represents the change in temperature? So this one might be easier to think of as a vertical number line. So we're starting at 12, we're ending at negative 3. And so number 1, we're dropping, okay? So we're decreasing, so it's going to be a negative number. And we want to know the difference. So essentially 12 plus what number is going to give us the negative 3. And so when I do this, I like to use 0 as a baseline. I know the distance from 12 to 0 is going to be 12, and I know from 0 to negative 3 is another 3. And so what I did was the temperature dropped